All right, here we go again. Buckle up. Rough roads ahead. I said a lot that you didn't hear, but now you know I really am in pain, and it does ebb and flow. And no, I generally don't hear voices in my head, but like everyone, the head can get a little crazy when you have a lot of pain. They say what do they say? What's the old adage? My arm is screaming at me. Right. Now, one thing about Jonathan Luna's friend, I played that up a bit. Okay, I was investigating what was going on. I mean, yeah, I was attracted, and I thought she was a gorgeous woman, but you know, that's why I could think of other women so quick. Until it was real, it wasn't real. Right. Well, I just wanted to see your reaction to everything. Thank you, Mary. I was investigating what was going on there. Oh, they had already ruined my family. Looked like they were ruining the courthouse. That looked like a hostile takeover to me. And it looked like the judges weren't comfortable with it. So I really am here to help you. What should have happened in my life is every community I went into, cops should have introduced themselves. And the cops should have found Christians or somebody in the old community introduced themselves. Because I'm a disabled veteran and I'm a disabled law enforcement officer. Damn disabled, undamned. Well, some of the voices you hear me oracle, and again, I'm an open channel. If I close down that channel, it doesn't happen. I won't be speaking somebody else's voices. Because I'm scanning right now, psychically scanning. So I'm as open a channel as you can get at that point. So I was never able to release my back like I just did. Maybe massage, maybe everything all together. Don't know why. I couldn't get back to massage for some reason. Well, I think I would have investigated a lot more procedures. And again, I'm being harassed. And that has a lot of psychological ramifications. Well, so far the Trump administration comes out clean. I don't know if it's real. Now, I'm not telling you everybody in your administration is clean, or in MAGA or whatever you connections you have. Now, I wanted to say about speech. Speech can be criminal, but there are laws. Like I said before, disinformation is something to be looked at. But again, I understand what you're saying. The investigators are corrupt. I understand that. I speak on that a lot. They don't corrupt the process. But understand that we have disinformation that is illegal, and that's what was my point. That disinformation is something that we should monitor, but any disinformation that is illegal is actually covered by law, and that's fraud. What's the other thing? Hate speech, and that type of thing. So you do have to monitor disinformation, but it's not. Again, people are online all day talking doo doo. So that's not disinformation. Well, my point is that all politicians make money off of fraud. Because if you say something that's not true, again, Trump's key was to make it. I think he picked it up off of what I was saying, or his people did. Is if you believe it's true, then it's not fraud, right? Right. That's why they tried to prove that he didn't believe it was true. And that's subjective. Well, we got to get out of investigating people, get back into investigating crimes. Just looking at the news here. Well, okay, what happened is my brother got upset because he thought I broadcasted the whole conversation. Well, essentially, thank you, Larry. He was telling me almost not to speak about it, but he's trying to say it a different way. Again, the key was if they just let my life be, I speak about other things. So I think they wanted me to speak about it, not happily. In other words, if I speak about it, then they could get me. They could drive people against me. But again, it was a result of panic. What I'm trying to figure out is okay. One thing to understand is Biden was okay. When you look at the Biden figures, the Obama figures, it includes surge months, and there was no again under Biden under I mean Obama there was no wall. So and less attitude against it, should I say, against undocumented immigration or migration, whatever they or aliens, whatever they call. Well, it was just easier when okay. We're gonna have we might have a surge in 3 months. I don't or 2 months or I don't know if we will or a month. Month would be the earliest. Well, your deportations will pick up. So what they're doing is they're taking that annual figure and they're dividing it by 12. They're not looking at the January and February figures. That's part of it. Second part is we already have deterrence. So that's going to drop the number because Biden was, I told you Biden was doing that. He was, the figures look like he was doing that. I don't know how many he was letting in, but he was deporting a bunch from the border. But those people don't come across now. So if you drop that border figure for a day, a year, a month, whatever it is, whatever the time period, by 500 people coming in, then you're probably going to deport at least 400 less automatically. So the numbers are skewed. Thank you, Larry. Well, it's right. There's a lot going on right now. They know they're going to be deported. They're not coming across the border as much. And when they come across the border and you deport people coming across the border, that's just easy numbers. Just kind of reading the news article and seeing what it is. What you need to do is follow through with that ability to use outside sources, whether it's military police coming in and helping the marshals out and grabbing some additional marshals to do it, or private contractors. Well, it's a national emergency. If I'm not mistaken, you can use military for national emergency. You don't have to worry about where the funding. National emergency use of military and funding military. Let's see if that. Here it is. Well, you're talking about using I guess, immigrants and sedition or something. Webster.house.gov. Right. I don't know who put this up here, but you can use the funding. You don't have to. You don't need any additional justification. Oh, it's limited. Oh, no, I'm just trying to. Maybe the funding you're looking for is larger. I don't know than what's available. I'm just looking for the restriction that might maybe. Um, requires you to say that. I couldn't walk around anymore. I had to lay down kind of on my side. My back's probably tightening right now. Well, to get that number, you're going to have to go outside criminal aliens. I guess Homan already said that. But again, looking for criminal aliens lowers your number. So what you have to explain to the public, and I know Mr. Miller explained that the deterrence factor is actually an additional number of immigrants, but they kind of attributed it to Biden or something. But that doesn't make sense because it happened so abruptly. Okay, let's think here next. No, Miller doesn't come up dirty just yet. Thanks. He didn't react. Nobody reacted. It seemed like nobody reacted. Or block me. I had a thought. I'm trying to get to it. Okay, right. When you arrest a criminal immigrant or a gang member immigrant, which is a criminal immigrant, is also, or a criminal alien, right? A gang member alien. That's not like a score of 1. That's like a score of 5 or 10. It's more difficult sometimes to find them. But it's also the idea that you're focused. And in other words, Biden was deporting all sorts of different people. The idea where only President Trump has to be a lie. They just don't say anything when Biden does it. Thanks, Larry. Because there's no way he could come up with those numbers. So, in fact, Biden was probably deporting more everyday people than President Trump. So it's like the reverse thing in the media. Right? Well, I think I would explain to the public that you're actually the number you're deporting are criminal immigrants. In other words, you're not actually yet just out there sweeping, which is maybe what was happening under Biden, which means the criminal immigrant was not being focused on, and they were actually very successful in our nation, even burglarizing our football players, professional football players, on game day. So you have to explain to the American public that, look, if you look at the value of the detention and the difficulty sometimes of the detention, because again, if you're just sweeping, it's easy. But generally, you're trying to focus mainly on these immigrants, these criminal immigrants, and these gang member, or what do they call them, aliens. So it's really a higher level of detention. It means more. It pays back additional dividends. Well, this idea where there's no invasion is where the news article went is BS because it's here. You're just focusing on criminal immigrants, which is it's like looking for a fugitive. It's a little bit different than just going out there and just grabbing people. Now you're looking to bolster numbers, so I think you're getting into that now a little bit. But again, don't lose focus because it does specifically going after criminal immigrants doesn't always pay back as much as the other one. Again, some of them I believe are deep state and they're protected. Well, I think you were having trouble in Aurora. I told you Aurora tried to kill me, and I mean that metaphorically, metaphysically. So I believe that's possibly one of those communities where Tren de Arega is actually there's a boss somewhere that pays somebody. Say Musk had a 13th child. I saw that number 13 recently. Well, like I said, Europe is obviously going to pick up the slack for Ukraine because what they're afraid of is that if they let Vladimir Putin have everything, then they're afraid he'll just do it again. I don't know if you'd stop him by not giving him everything if he wants to do it. But the idea is you're not going to stop the war without Vladimir Putin agreeing to it. Well, what's going to happen is when you you're reducing the number of people that are working. It's not only happening in the government, it's happening several locations. You're reducing spending. Profits are probably going to drop a bit. Well, again, when you're talking about attorneys and investigators, and if they think they can get a job somewhere else, and they don't want Elon, checking their underwear drawer. They don't want that, and they'll just go off and work somewhere else. And I guess there's conservatives leaving also. So again, the reason they say they're leaving may not be the ultimate reason why they're leaving. I mean, it may be motivated by all that's going on in government, not simply because Eric Adams received a pardon. Well, the answer is to create less friction. Again, the judges may not accept your dismissals because you didn't use the appropriate process. There's always some of it's a very short process, but there's it's an investigation, a hearing. Oh. Well, what I might do, I'm going to take my blood pressure medicine and just actually take a small dose of Sudafed. Maybe the only thing that's going to clear me. I'm not eating spicy food. I'm not taking Sudafed. That's what I used to do. That's when I was in Santa Fe. That's what I used to do. I just eat spicy foods and take Sudafed, and my nasal and ear paths just stay clean. Yeah, I sure wish on my better days over the last 4 years I could have thought to get to a doctor. I tried to think about massage, I just couldn't get to it. Again, they've caused panic in my life. It's designed to cause panic, and that's what causes me to speak out. So again, if they were removed, I wouldn't be speaking out, and they know that. Thanks. Okay, something about a slain trans. Monitor that every so often. My God. No, he did this. 5 people. Now I was trying to look at something in this here. Now I'd look into that to see if they were radicalized. His family requested a welfare check. I don't know if they had any knowledge of his real life before whatever happened to bring them together there. It sounds like that might be a deep state type of thing. Now I ended up it moved to another article. Well, the thing is this: if you move to sweeps, you might still find some criminal aliens, but you're giving up. You're kind of giving it up a little bit, unless you find additional people to do the other sweeps. Well, because it's kind of a boutique type detention. So that causes that number probably to drop. So I guess I'm just kind of snoozing here. Just trying to come up and troubleshoot stuff. I used to do this offline. This is how I come up with stuff. I just talk it out and think about it all day. And then something, it doesn't have to be all day. Then something gives. Right. Like to help explain this, it takes time to understand what's happening. Right. Well, I mean, I think you have. I think don't violate the law. Make sure I'm right. But with what you all said, like what you're requiring under the Alien and Seditions Act, which maybe you could throw that in there too. But I think you don't need that to get to more money. I think you have the justification to hire contractors and whatnot. What I believe happened is that Customs and Border Patrol and all those people, ICE, whoever, has already identified contractors that they know of that you're not using, that you could use. So you just need to find the funding for it. Like I said, thank you, Larry. But just just be careful you're firing. I see it. There's some missteps. Thanks, Larry. And if you fire that many people, you're going to make mistakes, right? Just naturally, if you have to, get rid of that many people. All right, so we have some movement about military stocks. Well, again, this is going to be a catch 22 because revenue can decrease. Right. Zelensky's probably not going to sign anything unless you deal with him with what he wants. Well, the economy is what is it, it got to a certain degree. Biden played the economy, right? Remember, if you're claiming Social Security fraud, you can prosecute that. Right. Thank you, Larry. Unless you fire all the prosecutors or yeah, prosecutors and investigators. If it's just my lower lumbar, massage will work, but it might not work until after some surgery. I just wish I could have focused on it a little bit better. But again, I'm being panicked and all sorts of things. You have to study the numbers closely and look what month. You know, look at the January and February figures from Biden and Obama, and they may look different. It's also the idea that it's just a free flow of people across the border. There's a deterrence. There's a wall. Yeah, there's other things that are dropping those numbers. And again, focusing on criminal immigrants is correct, criminal aliens, but that's going to possibly slow down the process. Biden deportation figures February 2024. Right. See, in 20, ICE deportations increased. Okay. Okay. ICE deportations plunged to 59,000, a record low for the 21-year-old agency, and that's in 2021. ICE deportations increased to 72,000 in fiscal year 2022, and then to 143,000 in fiscal year 2023, as the Biden administration increased deportation efforts in response to record levels of migrants at the U.S. Mexico border. And he used the title 42. Well, the reason being record number in, record number out. Lowest number in, low number out, as far as that part of the deportations. You see here, most of the deportations in fiscal year 2024 involved migrants who were apprehended by U.S. border officials as opposed to those arrested by ICE in the interior country. The agency report shows roughly 82% of the 271,000 immigrants deported that year were first arrested by Customs Border Protection. The rest were initially arrested by ICE in jails or during operations in communities. So it's there's my answer. There's the answer. Most of those arrests in 2024 were as people were coming across the border. They were not interior ICE operations. President Trump is showing the highest level of deterrence at the border. President Trump and his administration are showing the highest level of deterrence at the border, and that deterrence has caused the border deportations to drop, as they're not deportations to decrease. Reflected by due to the decreased volume of border crossers, increased deterrence effect, causing the actually, I didn't have to say that next one. Well, unless you open up the border and they flow through, it's going to be very difficult to get to any of that. I think you'll find the same thing with Obama. Right. So you actually start from a higher level of automatic non-deportations that would have occurred if you weren't in office and you did provide the deterrence that you're providing. But also the idea is on the interior, you were actually going for quality of arrest versus quantity to a certain degree. Right? But it's kind of a bait, so that who knows what they're doing. But if you fall for it completely, you're going to go away from criminal aliens and do this big sweeping, and then they'll say, but he's not doing the criminal aliens now.
Thank you, Lurch. Actually, I wanted to go.
I actually feel kind of okay in this position. I'm probably maybe doing a little damage. I don't know. I should have. I should have been able to get to. Again, there's a price to pay for what they're doing, and they caused a lot of disruption in my life. Yeah, my brother doesn't want to believe it exists, and maybe it's because he seeks safety for him and his family. I don't know. No, I definitely did not have that microphone in that kitchen cart, and he just was denying that it happened.
Okay, sure.
Oh yeah, I was in. I was a lot lighter. My weight was down. I was pretty fit when this happened. Back in Amarillo, I kind of wish I could have got to it.
Okay, sir.
or lumbar. Well, God bless my brother. He's trying to do the best he can, and again, he's got a lot of, he's a CFO. He was a CFO. He's got a lot of investments. He doesn't want the ramifications of the deep state coming off on him. Right. I wish I didn't tell him that we broadcasted part of it because he got nervous. But what you heard us discussing was that he, again, I told him I'd seek counseling. It's just I'm just sick and it's very difficult to get anywhere. I try to do telehealth. It's just I've been real sick. I mean, physically I was sick. Right? I was in a lot of pain. Right? For some reason, I was able to get it to drop a little bit today. I mean, I've been in pain, but right now, I couldn't even I'm kind of. It's weird how I'm sitting on my bed. I'm on my side, and it's just weird. Right? But I can get out of pain for a bit and not be on my feet. I was waking up in Tyler like I had. I mean, it could be military PTSD too. I don't know. I'm not going to say it all is. I'm not going to give in to that. Right. No, because I wake up, I'm like, ah. when I was in Amarillo, that's what happened. I wake up, ah. Thank you much. I don't know how to tie it to the military, to tell you the truth. Everybody, I'm an intelligent person, and I know the stress we experience in the military could give anybody PTSD. I do acknowledge that. I'm a little bit, I'm probably easier than VA standard, but it's a I'm the real standard. Anyway. Yeah, most likely a combination. Mm. Mm. I'll get back to work in a little bit. I got something I got to do here. Thank you, Larry. I mean, I'm obviously it's some sort of work that I do there. Should have been paid long ago. I mean, that's the point. You could just pay me for this work I do. Actually, they're trying to shift my mind over to that. So I'm investigating as I'm speaking. So as I try to think away from the trauma, they're trying to think me into the trauma. So you know who they are, I don't. See, so they'll go, you have to stop them. You have to stop them. That's their projection, per se. That's what they're doing, whoever they are. I don't know who they are. Well, the idea is to get me to go out there and assault somebody or something like that. And again, it's not just me, it's anybody they do it to.
Watch.
Well, right. So people that are online right now investigating cases that have moved to violent fruition, they can benefit from what I'm saying in their investigations. Investigations in. So my back is not. I put a ton of magnesium oil on my back, and it's not cramping like it usually does. It's still not totally loose like when I'm standing up. I was probably salvageable in Amarillo and all that, and Tyler. They just wouldn't stay away. Whoever they are. What could I get my leg massage? It might help. I don't know. Yeah, okay. Stay away from mustard. Something was trying to get me in a trick bag. Right. Well, you can't, quote unquote, you can't get blood from a stone. So, if you're seeking numbers, if you have to move away from criminal aliens and you have to open the border back up. Again, uh, let's see what we got here. Just be careful. Oh, shoot. No, I was trying to send an SMS confirmation to my appointment. I do remember, though, again, I'm trying to think back. When I was in Colorado, I laid on my bed and I kind of twisted up and my body started stretching. So there was an immense tightness around the hip area up into the lower abdomen. So obviously I could have kept this at bay if I had been left to be. Right. No, I know how they were doing it. They weren't just checking me out. They were playing a game. Well, I don't know what that guy was doing around me, the alleged owner of Massage MV franchise, but I couldn't walk up and talk to him. Not after he made that phone call. Right. And of course, he looked like he was trying to hit on me when I was in the location, making googly eyes at me. I just blow that off. I don't give it too much credence. Like, people do what they do. I'm just not sure what you're all looking for at the end result of this. I mean, you want to balance the budget, but is there going to be anything else left standing? That's my concern. So, the economy crashes, if employment soars, what are we going to do? I don't get I get the speed at which you're moving, but what are you going to say? If you do it slower, it may not do that, or do as much damage, and spread it out over a few years. Well, you're definitely going to your unemployment's definitely going to increase. Right. Now, there's a question as to whether if they opt out of government, whether they can claim unemployment. Oh, hold on. I have no idea how this mucus is this thick in my sinus and everything. I'm usually not like that. Ooh, cool. I go into where my refrigerator is. It's like, well, it's not. I usually close the door and it doesn't get heated. Thank you, Larry. Right. It's kind of like comparing apples to oranges. The Biden administration deportations versus the Trump deportation. It's that's kind of weird because they're both fruits. Maybe apples to corn. I guess apple corn fritter though. Thank you, sir. No, if I stand up, my it's like obvious that my lumbar is screwed up. Right. So again, this is something that if you to stop them from doing this, no, it's not a proven technique. I know how you all play that. Right. You treat each case differently and try to design a BS system around it. Thanks, Larry. I don't know. It's not as warm as it was. Yeah, I'm having trouble with the lumbar. Ugh. Well, the rest feels okay. That's what it is. I should have never did this to you. Right, and the way that you would like perceive things is skewed because you're constantly being harassed. Right. Well, if you call it some sort of intelligence program, I'd say it's pretty darn ignorant. Right. But no, I didn't turn the other heater on, and I got to turn it up too. It's getting a little cool in the front part here. Oh, right. So my legs were feeling okay, laying on my bed. For the first part, it just kind of lumbar was bothering, and now it's kind of going down the legs. So again, I was all kind of getting into. Again, I wasn't really doing too well, but I was getting into the idea of having the surgery. Oh, I forgot. I have to order some of that. No, I honor where my brother is. I mean, like I said, if you hadn't have done this to me, I wouldn't have said anything. So again, it's not that I knew, a whole bunch about what it was. I just knew some people had taken me out of government, and I'm like, okay, I understand you want me to go, and whatever thing you got going on is what you got going on. And it really came down to the point that it wasn't safe for me to be there, and it wasn't safe for the world for me to be there, because if I don't pull my gun out when I need to pull my gun out because I'm doubting what I'm doing, then there's no reason to be there. Right. Get somebody else killed. I can get myself killed at the same time. Right. Well, because when they're doing that, you have no juice whatsoever. I mean, whatever you do is going to be prosecuted to the top of the world if they could, like they did to Arthur Lloyd. No, I definitely don't feel too good on my feet. Feel better just kind of chilling. At least I can, lay on my side, and I feel pretty good. Thank the Lord for that. And if you're praying for me, thank you. Thank you, Larry. No, I couldn't even lay down. It was so uncomfortable. Well, I think putting all that magnesium all on there may have done the trick. I mean, I've helped the government. I've blessed all your people and all the people. Why not give me something, even before VA, so I can just have a peaceful life and get forward, in an instant versus waiting. I mean, I think if people knew what I did for this country in reality, they'd want me to have money. If they knew that the deep state had done that to me, and that I still took pride in the nation and was helping people. I was helping government employees, trying to improve the work. I didn't like snitch on anybody. I said, like, we just need to improve the work environment, because it's just not conducive. I kind of hinted around that there was something going on, and they need to make it easier for the employees that are investigating, crimes. I mean, because that's the crazy part. Like we're doing all this work, and they're attacking certain people because they, I don't know what their thing is. Believe me, even if Jonathan Luna did something somewhere along the way, they did it. They caused it in his life because they're there before they're there. If you know what I mean. They're setting it all up, and then they come into like a courthouse and go, "We have to investigate this place." Now, I probably should have gotten some sort of, I should have got modalities and surgery and other things and whatever it pointed to. I just didn't get to like a hands-on doctor. You know what I mean? Right. It was during, right after COVID and, during all that. And that would have been nice to be respected like every other. That's a part, it's kind of crazy. Thank you for your service. And, you treat the immigrant the way you're supposed to treat me. And I'm not down on immigrants, but as much as everyone else. Right. But it's crazy. Well, you let a bunch of rogue cops do whatever they want, rogue agents, rogue attorneys. Kind of like everybody running their own little gangster world. Those surveillance programs. What is it? What did they call it in Pasco County? Those are bullshit. It's just a cover story to go attack somebody. Like the pain is starting right now. I got up out of bed. I had to uncramp it. Couldn't leave it cramped. I get worried when that upper left starts twitching. Right. But I think it's just between, it's just a confused signal. It's trying to. Oh God. If you don't have any pain up there, then it should be only the lumbar.